Hi, I'm Shane with Precision Turf, and this is how to build a flagstone walkway without using concrete. There's two ways that we typically build a flagstone walkway. One way is we'll come in and lay concrete and then lay the flagstone on top with a wet mortar. That's not how we're doing it today. Today we're just laying a base with a decomposed granite to use as our base to level our flagstone. And we're gonna come back in with a 1 to 2 inch river rock to fill in those gaps. So follow me and I'll kind of show you. The first thing that we do is draw our lines out. Now these are not perfect, but it's our baseline. And we're just getting an idea of where our path is gonna go. So we've drawn out our lines here and we know that our walkway is gonna be 30 inches. So this is our baseline. We're gonna draw one line that we're gonna work off of. The other one's just for reference. And as we start digging our trench, we're going to work 30 inches off of this baseline. So it's not an exact science, it's just something so that we can see what we're doing. Now as we dig down, when you're doing just a base with flagstone with no concrete, we have to have a border. So we're using what's called bender board, and we're gonna put that border in here, and we don't want that border to show. So what we're gonna have to do is dig down on this side and then build the dirt up a little bit on this side. And we'll do that using the decomposed granite, and we'll bring some dirt in over here to finish that. And we're gonna do a little bit extra for the client, so that always when you're working for somebody, if you're doing a job, if you can just do a little bit extra, you're gonna get a lot of referrals. So instead of just this pathway here, instead of that, we're gonna do this whole area inside here. Okay, the lines are marked out. Raul and Gustavo have the border in here, all the way down here. This coming down here. They cut out their edge on this side and got their border on this side. So one thing, they cut down enough for the border on this side. But one thing about this side we had talked about was there's this gap that's about that wide on the back side of this. Now we don't want the outside of this showing, so we're going to take some of this existing grass and put it over here. We're going to cut out a lip here, build up the dirt, and then slope it from that. It's going to do two things. It's going to make it look better, and it's also going to hold this border in. Our base layer is what's called DG, decomposed granite, and that stuff is heavy, but you pack it in, you just need something to hold it in. Then you got the flagstone and the other river rocks in here with it, which you'll see at the end. So all of that needs to be held in. That's what this is doing, but we need to give it some support on the back side to finish it out. So the guys have gotten their border dug here, and what they're discussing is making sure that it's deep enough that the bender board doesn't show above ground. We don't want that to show above ground on each side. So they're making sure it's deep enough, and also they're gonna go ahead and set that border with a stake and screw it in right there. And also they're gonna measure and make sure that they're 30 inches apart for the walkway. To secure your bender board, you wanna have stakes and drive them in the ground. Drive those stakes into the ground below the bender board so that you can cover that up with rocks. And if you don't have any stakes, you can cut extra pieces of bender board to make stakes with a sawzall. Then you're going to take a drill and drive those screws in there. If the screws come through the back side, just take your sawzall and cut those off. Underneath your base, you want to lay a weed mat just to give you some weed blockage. So lay that out and make sure you tuck it down really nice and neat inside the bender board, just so it doesn't poke up through the top. One little extra thing to note here is that if you're working for yourself and doing this at your own house, you do it however you want to, but if you're working at a customer's house like this one, we were able to pull the dump trailer right up next to the job site. And what that allowed us to do was just keep our job site clean as we were working it. If you can't keep your job site clean during the day, try to clean it up as much as you can before you leave. A clean job creates a more professional appearance for your customer, for your company. This is decomposed granite. It sits up really well, but if you don't have this in your area, then a 1/4 inch gravel, 1/4 inch to dust gravel, so 1/4 inch below, will work perfect for your base. It actually may be a little bit better than this stuff because it's pretty pliable once you get it in your trench. That way you can kind of move your flagstone around to get it level the way you want it to. Why are you making all that noise? Bueno. When you're working on your base, you just want to make sure that you have at least an inch. It's really going to be up to you, but an inch is good and 2 inches is probably better. The thing here that we're working with is we want to put enough base in to make sure that the top of our flagstone is even with the top of the bender board, just so everything is level at the top. If you've ever worked with flagstone, you'll know that none of the pieces are exactly the same. The benefit of doing it this way with the rocks between the flagstone is that you've got a little bit more room for error. It's like putting a giant puzzle together with big heavy puzzle pieces, and that guy right there is the master puzzler. So, but you got a little bit more room for error because you can stack these things and move these things in a way and just fill the areas with the rocks. You just got more room for error. If you're doing concrete base, you really need them to line up quite a bit better, just to make it look right. But you're going to take these things when you get your flagstone and you get all your base laid and you're close to where you want to start. You're going to lay all your flagstone out, and it helps if you have an area to work. It's kind of tight right now, but you got an area to work with grass, kind of laying it out beside. Lay 20, 30 pieces at a time out, and then pick each one, put it in there. If you like it, leave it. If you don't like it, take it out. Do that over and over until you get the hang of what you want it to look like. And then at that point, you're gonna be able to see a piece and put it where you think it needs to go. As you can see behind me, this flagstone is more of stepping flagstone, so there's bigger pieces. This is a 30-inch wide walkway, and so they're just big stepping pieces right now. But as we get into this area right here, it's gonna be more of the puzzle side of it. So depending on how wide your flagstone walkway is and how you want it set up and how you want it to look is going to determine how you want to lay these. You can lay them like puzzle pieces, or you can lay them as stepping stones, or you can do a little bit of both. So here we are at the finished product. It turned out really, really nice. First thing we did was dug it out and then put the borders up, and then the decomposed granite, and then the steps. And we use the decomposed granite to level the steps, because you don't want the steps wobbling. You see how those are just nice and flat in there? They're not moving. You want to make sure that every step doesn't have any wobble to it. And then we came in and filled in the gaps with this 1 to 2 inch river rock. One thing I failed to mention is that if you're doing this type of flagstone walkway, your flagstone needs to be at least 1.5 inches thick. You can go 2 inches if you want. Do not go less than 1.5 inches. And the last step is to wash everything off. You want to be able to present it to your customer in the neatest and cleanest fashion. So make sure your job site's clean and wash the rock off. It's going to do two things. It's going to clean it up, and it's going to make it look nice and shiny. Make sure to warn them that it's wet so they don't slip on that, but it's going to give you a presentation that is equal to the job that you just completed. If this video has helped you in any way for your next flagstone project, please do us a huge favor and like this video and subscribe to our channel. We'll be making more of these videos, how to do things, general information about the lawn and landscape industry that will help you out in the future. Thanks for watching, and God bless.